Jim Harbaugh. Wow, what a year it has been for Michigan football, as they are currently ranked #1 in the country. This is Sports Guy talking that you guys are watching and listening to. I am Dustin Tran, your host, as I am here today to talk about Jim Harbaugh having a golden opportunity to win a national championship this season. That achievement starts with being able to beat Alabama in the Rose Bowl, as Michigan is under tremendous pressure to win in the college football playoff. Michigan has done a great job taking care of the games that they are supposed to win, and they now have to take care of business against Alabama. Before I say anything else though, I want to present you guys with a topic question. So here it is. Will Jim Harbaugh finally win a college football playoff game? I'm going to go ahead and say yes on it. This is the year that Jim Harbaugh finally overcomes his demons. Everybody knows that Jim Harbaugh is one of the best coaches in all of college football. But the one thing that you can say about Jim Harbaugh that he doesn't do well is win whenever it matters most. There's a reason why he has only won one bowl game at Michigan. That wasn't even a college football playoff game. That was a bowl game back in 2015. The point is, it has been a long time since Jim Harbaugh won a bowl game, and for Michigan to now have the opportunity to win a bowl game, and not only win a bowl game, win a college football playoff game, this is a great opportunity for Jim Harbaugh to get the job done, and I believe he's going to get it done. You look at the roster that Michigan has, they have a pretty stacked roster. Jim Harbaugh has done a tremendous job recruiting this team. Jim Harbaugh this year has had to serve 2 different suspensions, and despite that, Michigan has still been able to finish the season with an undefeated record. He gets suspended because of a technicality with the recruiting violations. So he ends up getting suspended 3 games. No problem. Michigan ends up winning their games in dominant fashion during that 3-game suspension, where there was a huge scandal going on with the sign stealing, which I believe was incredibly overblown. That ends up getting Jim Harbaugh suspended 3 more games. And despite that, Michigan is still able to dominate their opponents and take care of business. So they're 6-0 without Jim Harbaugh this year. And with Jim Harbaugh on the sidelines, Michigan has been 7-0. My point is, Michigan has been able to win no matter the coach. And with Michigan basically at full strength, they're going to be a team that's going to be really good when you compare them to other collegiate football teams, even against Alabama. I know that a lot of people are scared of how good Alabama is, and I have no doubt that they are a good football team, but let's be honest, Alabama shouldn't even be in the college football playoff. If the college football playoff committee did things the right way, Alabama wouldn't even be in the college football playoff right now. They've had a great year, don't get me wrong, they won their conference, but they shouldn't have made the college football playoff over Florida State. And for Alabama to even be in this position, they got to be pretty grateful, because this Alabama team is just simply not that good compared to past years. You look at Alabama this year and you're thinking, wow, they've gotten this far with Jalen Moreau at the quarterback position. I know Jalen Moreau has had his moments, but he's been an inconsistent quarterback. You look at the fact how Chase McClellan, he's got a foot injury and he's questionable. He might not even play in the Michigan-Alabama game. So let's see what happens with that. So they're going to be left with Roy Dell Williams to run the football. There's no Chase McClellan. Obviously, you look at the receiving game that Alabama has, it's not great. They don't really use wide receivers a whole ton. I mean, Jermaine Burton, he's a nice player. Isaiah Bond, he's a guy that can do a couple of things, and they got Kobe Prentice. But like I said, they don't really use wide receivers a whole ton. Alabama relies on running the football and playing good defense. But the thing is, Alabama is going up against a defensive line that is considered to be dominant in college football. Michigan's defensive line is one of the better defensive lines in all of college football, and they can get to the passer like no other team in the country. Michigan doesn't have great sack numbers, but they can hit the quarterback like no other. And when Michigan can generate pressure, that's going to create some turnovers. And when that creates some turnovers, that's going to create some opportunities for Michigan to put points on the board, because not only has Michigan won these games, they've won these games going away. Michigan has only played in 2 close ball games all year long. One of them was against Maryland, the other one was against Ohio State. Obviously, we know the rivalry between Michigan and Ohio State. Guess what? Ohio State's a good football team too, so they're going to be pretty competitive against those guys. I think this game's going to be competitive. I think it's going to be close. I think that whoever wins the turnover battle is going to go ahead and win this game. Obviously, if you're Michigan, you got to ask JJ McCarthy to continue protecting the football like he has all season long. He's been a solid player for them. He's only thrown 4 interceptions all year. Yeah, I know he doesn't throw a lot of touchdowns, but he's extremely efficient when he has the football in his hands. And the reason why he doesn't put up a lot of passing yards or passing touchdowns is because of the fact that Michigan is up by so many points in the 4th quarter. They simply don't need JJ McCarthy to throw the football. Now, do I think JJ McCarthy could improve on some things? Sure, but you could say that about every quarterback in the nation. JJ McCarthy is one of the better quarterbacks in all of college football, and I expect him to have another great game against Alabama's defense. Obviously, you look at the running game, they got Blake Corum, Donovan Edwards. They're solid running backs. Blake Corum has been basically touchdown merchant, 24 touchdowns on the year. He's already rushed for over 1,000 yards. You look at how JJ McCarthy has also contributed in the running game, but the team relies on Blake Corum. That is the heart and soul of Michigan's offense. Michigan has to rely on Blake Corum and their offensive line to be more physical than the opponent, because that is their identity. That is what they do offensively, and that's how they win a lot of ball games. Obviously, you look at the receiving game, they don't really use their wide receivers a lot. That's what happens when you don't throw the football a lot. But their main weapon is Roman Wilson. He's an underrated player. He can catch the football pretty effectively, and when he has the football in his hands, he has the ability to make big plays happen. But then you look at how they also have Cornelius Johnson, Samaje Morgan, and Tyler Moore. So those are solid weapons that they're going to have. Obviously, you look at the tight end game, they got Colston Loveland, AJ Barner. They're great blockers for tight ends. They can also go out there and catch the football as well. They also use Donovan Edwards in the passing game. Donovan Edwards is kind of the receiving back. My point is Michigan's offense is actually pretty good, and Jim Harbaugh is determined to win a national championship for Michigan. This year's Michigan team just feels different. I know a lot of people feel like, oh, Michigan, every time they play in a big game, they turn out to be frauds, but they got that extra chip on their shoulder, and who knows, this might be the last year Jim Harbaugh coaches college football because he might be in the NFL next year. You don't think Jim Harbaugh's going to want to go out with a bang? I think Jim Harbaugh is going to out-coach Nick Saban in the Rose Bowl, and I think the intensity for Michigan's team will be higher than it will be for Alabama's team. Remember, Alabama should be grateful that they're even making the college football playoff. They shouldn't even be in the college football playoff if I was the one coming up with those rankings, but they are there, and they're going to show up, but Michigan's going to be able to out-hit those guys. They're going to be able to out-rush Alabama. I think JJ McCarthy is going to have a good game. Obviously, I don't think JJ McCarthy can just hand the ball off 50, 60 times a game and just expect to do nothing and win the game. They're obviously going to count on JJ McCarthy to make big plays in the passing game, but the good news is JJ McCarthy is more than capable of doing it. He just hasn't been asked to do that all year long. I expect this to be a back and forth game. Obviously, Michigan, they're going to be missing one of their offensive linemen, Zach Zinter. He's out for the year. He broke his leg against Ohio State, but Michigan has an elite offensive line. They're still going to be able to out-physical Alabama's defensive line. I understand Alabama's defense is really physical and that they are really good, but so is Michigan's offensive line. Michigan's offensive line might be the best offensive line in the country. That's how good their O-line is, and when you have an offensive line that's that good late in the year, that bodes well for your football team because you can run the football and you give your quarterback time to throw the football. I think JJ McCarthy is going to be better than Jalen Moreau. That's going to be the difference in this game. What's the most important position in all of football? Quarterback, and I think JJ McCarthy is definitely better than Jalen Moreau. I think it's going to be close throughout, but ultimately I see Alabama putting up 31 points while I see Michigan putting up 34 points. That means I see Michigan winning this game by the score of 34-31. I don't think it's going to be a back and forth game, but I do think Michigan will be in control throughout. It's going to be close throughout, but Michigan's going to get the job done. They're going to squeak by with a 3-point victory. So that is why Jim Harbaugh will finally win a college football playoff game, as Michigan will beat Alabama by the score of 34-31. Remember, go ahead and subscribe to Sports Guy Talking, like the video, and please comment down below. If you guys do that, I may shout you guys out in my Instagram story every Monday. That'll be for the Dustin Tran Instagram account. Make sure to follow me on Instagram at Dustin Tran and at Sports Guy Talking. Also, go follow me on Twitter at Dustin Tran. Again, go ahead and do those things that I just told you guys to go do. Hopefully, you guys enjoyed the content that was just produced. Peace out. I hope you enjoyed that video. Want more Sports Guy Talking, the home of great sports content? Make sure you click that subscribe button to get the latest from Sports Guy Talking. Go ahead and like the video, comment down below, check the description box on the video in order to follow my Instagram and Twitter. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from the YouTube channel, Sports Guy Talking.